So, hey guys, hope you all are doing good. So, I have been watching a lot of videos lately showing people how to connect Claude with Shopify. And honestly, most of them follow the same exact process. They show you how to connect Claude directly to your Shopify store through the Claude desktop app using a Shopify connector. And then you start giving it prompts, and within minutes, it starts building sections, features, and custom functionalities for you. It looks amazing, and to be honest, it is. But there's a one major problem that almost nobody talks about. This setup has no reversion control. And in many cases, it's pushing changes directly to your Shopify store without you explicitly telling it to not to. And most people don't even realize that it's happening. So let's take an example to better understand. Let's say that Claude builds you a section for your Shopify store. Everything looks great, so you simply move on. 2-3 days later, you realize that section is causing a bug or slowing down your store or breaking something completely unrelated. And to be honest, this happens more often than most people even realize. Now, you want to go back to the version before that change. The problem with simple Claude Shopify connector setup is you cannot easily do that. Claude doesn't keep a permanent memory of every change it has made, and the connector itself does not give you a proper history of your code. So you are just left trying to figure out what changed, why it changed, and how to fix it. This is not how professional developers work. So in this video, I'm going to show you how real Shopify developers connect Claude with Shopify. I'll also show you the actual workflow professionals use when building a Shopify theme or creating a custom functionality for their clients, like how to create a development branches, how to work remotely instead of on directly on your live store, how to preview changes before customer even sees them. I mean, basically everything. That's why this video will be a little bit longer than usual. And one quick disclaimer before we continue. This isn't a 5-minute tutorial showing you how to connect a single app and start prompting Claude. This video is probably going to be an hour long, or maybe a little bit shorter, or maybe a little bit longer. So if you are not looking for a quick Shopify connector setup, this probably isn't the right video for you. You can skip it. But if you stick with me until the end, you will understand not just how to connect Claude with Shopify, but how to build Shopify stores that using a workflow that's actually used by professional developers. You don't need any prior technical knowledge to follow along. I will show you how to install everything from scratch, including Node.js, Git, Shopify CLI, Claude Code, VS Code. I mean, everything else we will be using throughout this tutorial. And to make things easier, I will also include timestamps below so you can jump directly to any section wherever you need to. But I highly recommend watching the entire video at least once because each part is built on the previous one. So by the end of this video, you will understand not just the tools, but the workflow behind them. And that's the part that really matters. Because building a feature today is easy, but maintaining a store safely is what separates a demo from a professional workflow. So let's get started. So before we start building anything, let me just quickly introduce the tools that we will be using. First, we have Shopify. This is the actual online store, the website your customers visit and interact with every day. Nothing complicated here. Then we have Claude. I hope I don't need to explain this one. Then we have Git. The easiest way to think about Git is as a save button with superpowers. Every time you make a meaningful change to your store, Git creates a checkpoint. If something breaks or you want to undo a change in future, you can instantly go back to any checkpoint you have saved. After that, we have GitHub. GitHub is simply a cloud backup of all those Git checkpoints. For example, if your computer crashes tomorrow, your entire project is still safely stored online. Then we will be using VS Code. VS Code is a code editor where we will manage all of our Shopify theme files. Think of it as a workspace where everything comes together. Then we have Node.js. Think of it as the engine that powers some of the tools that we will be using this workflow. Just like we don't need to understand how car engine works in order to drive a car, you don't need to understand Node.js to use this workflow. We will simply need it to install tools like Shopify CLI, Claude Code. So here's how the workflow works. VS Code is where we will work with the files. Claude helps us to make those changes. Git tracks and saves every change we make. GitHub stores those changes safely in the cloud, and Shopify displays the final change to the customer. This is the entire system. Now let's set up everything step by step, and I will also explain each one of those tools we discussed above in more detail, so you don't need to worry about anything if you are new to this. So let's start by installing Node.js. So the first tool that we are going to install is Node.js. Now to install Node.js, just simply write Node.js download. All right, just go here and select, for mine it's Mac OS. If your is Windows, just click over here and select Windows or Linux. So for me it's Mac OS. Let me just go and install this. Always prefer this LTS, which stands for long-term support. This is recommended for most of the people. So once it's installed, just install it like any other software. Continue. Once this is done, now our installation is done. Just go to the terminal and type node dash version. Give a second. It is, if it shows some number, that means your Node.js has been installed. Now let's install the tool that's going to make this entire workflow possible. That's Git. So guys, we have installed Node.js. Now it's time to install Git. And honestly, this is probably the most important tool in the entire workflow, because Git is what gives us version control. Now, if the term version control sounds technical for you, don't worry. The easiest way to think about Git is as unlimited undo button for your Shopify store. Let's say that today you ask a Claude to build you an announcement bar for your Shopify store. Tomorrow you add a section for your Shopify store. And next week you redesign your product page. So every time you make a meaningful change, Git allows you to create a checkpoint. That's why developers use Git on almost every project they work on. Not because they expect everything to break, but because they know mistakes can happen. And when they do, they want to go back. So that's why the Git is important. So let's now install Git. In order to install Git, if you are on the Mac, you need to install Homebrew. So let's install Homebrew first. Install Homebrew. Just go over here, copy this. All right, open your terminal, just paste it over here, write your password, just press enter, and here we go. Just give it a minute to install it properly. Once it is done, I will let you guys know. So guys, what you need to do, you will reach at this step. Just copy this, paste, and then copy this as well. All right, copy and paste. And this is it, Brew is installed. In order to confirm whether Brew is installed properly or not, just type Brew help. If you see this, that means Brew is installed. Now let's install Git. Just simply write Brew install Git. Just press yes, why. Wait a second until once it gets downloaded, I will let you know. Okay, the Git is installed. In order to confirm that, just type Git. If you see this, that means Git is also installed. Now guys, we are going to do a one-time quick setup. Just type git config global-user .name and write your name over here. Press here, then also write git config --global space user .email and write your email over here. Done. Just make sure to replace the values with your own name and email, and don't worry too much about these commands. They are simply telling Git who is creating future checkpoints, and that's it. Now Git's installed. We are ready to track every change that we are going to make forward. Now let's create a GitHub account so we can back up these checkpoints online as well. Now we have installed Git on our computer. Now we need somewhere to store all of those checkpoints online. This is where GitHub comes in. The easiest way to think about GitHub is as a Google Drive for your Shopify store. Git saves your versions on your computer. GitHub stores all those versions in the cloud. So if your computer crashes tomorrow or gets stolen or decide to stop working tomorrow, all of your work is still safely backed up online. GitHub also makes collaboration much easier. If you are working with another developer, designer, or agency, everyone can work from the same source of truth. So to get started, just simply head over to github.com. The sign up process is really straightforward. It just takes few minutes. As I have already a GitHub account, I will just simply log in. Once you have signed up for GitHub, you don't need to worry all of these buttons and menus. We are going to use a very small part of GitHub for this workflow. For now, all you need is just a GitHub account. We will create your first repository a little bit later after we have downloaded our Shopify theme. Now the Git and GitHub are ready. It's time to install the tool that actually connects your computer to your Shopify store. That's called Shopify CLI. So let's do it now. So guys, until now we have installed Node.js, Git, GitHub. Now it's time to install Shopify CLI. Think of Shopify CLI as a bridge between your computer and your Shopify store. Without it, Shopify lives inside your browser and your files live inside your computer. The Shopify CLI allows us to connect these two worlds and communicate with each other. It lets us download Shopify themes, preview changes locally, upload files, and eventually publish those changes to your live Shopify store. So in order to install your Shopify CLI, just head over to your browser. Give a second. Type install Shopify CLI. Wait, go over here and go to the Homebrew. Copy this, then open your terminal. Just paste it over here. You will reach at this point, just press Y and it will start installing Shopify CLI. So our Shopify CLI is installed. In order to confirm that, just type Shopify version. If it shows a number something like this, that means your Shopify CLI is installed. Now our computer can communicate directly with Shopify. The next we are going to install Claude Code, which is where things get really interesting. Because instead of simply chatting with Claude inside your browser, we are going to give Claude access to our Shopify project and let it work directly to the files. If you already installed Claude Code, feel free to skip this section. Well, most people are familiar with Claude in the browser or the desktop app. You open the chat, you prompt, and Claude starts giving you responses. Claude Code is different. Instead of chatting about files, Claude can actually work directly into your computer. Think of it as giving Claude access to your project folders. So instead of copying and pasting back and forth, Claude can read, create files, edit files, and help you manage your entire Shopify theme directly from your machine. This is exactly why we are building this workflow, because Claude Code isn't directly working with your live Shopify store. It's editing files on your computer. Those files are protected by Git. Those versions are then backed by GitHub, and only when you are happy with the changes, then you can directly send it to the Shopify using the Shopify CLI. That makes this setup so much faster and more safer. So to install a Claude Code inside your computer, just simply head to your browser, open a new window, just simply write install Claude Code. Just click over here, scroll down, and you will see over here. Just copy this, open terminal. The shortcut I'm using is command plus space. Terminal, paste it over here. So if your screen looks like mine, just simply copy this and paste it over here. That's it. In order to confirm whether Claude Code is installed or not, just simply write Claude -version. If you see this number, that means your Claude is installed. Now next what you need to do is just write Claude doctor. This performs a quick health check and confirms is everything working properly or not. So finally, open Claude by simply typing Claude. So it will ask you for these settings, dark mode. If you have one thing you need to remember is that in order to make this Claude Code work, you need to have Claude subscription. Now let me just sign in with my Claude account. So authorize. So our Claude Code is also installed. Now there's one tool that we need to install before we start working with our Shopify theme. That's VS Code. Now we are going to install VS Code, also known as Visual Studio Code. This is the editor we will be using throughout the rest of the tutorial. And don't let the editor word intimidate you. Even if you have never written a line of code before, Just simply understand that VS Code is a workspace where we will view, organize, and manage all the files of that make up our Shopify theme. And this is exactly where we see what Claude is changing with our files. So to install it, just simply head over to your browser, just type, install VS Code. Go to this, just select the operating system that you have. It will start installing, and once it's done, just install it like any other software. So once you install VS Code, just open the VS Code and just create a folder by going over here, open folder. Let me just create a folder over here. I'll just create this test folder. All right, just open. That's it. So at this stage, we have installed Node.js, Git, GitHub, Shopify CLI, Claude Code, and also the VS Code. Now it's time to connect to Shopify and pull our theme file directly onto our computer inside this folder, test folder. And this is where the real workflow begins. Now guys, we have installed everything. Now it's time to connect to Shopify and pull our theme onto our computer. For this tutorial, I'm using a development store that I have specifically created for this video. So I always recommend learning on a development store first rather than experimenting with your live store that customers are actually using. The first thing that you need is your Shopify URL that you can find by simply going to the preview. Just copy this. Guys, it usually looks like something like this, your store name and .myshopify.com. Now let's download the theme. Just open your VS Code. After opening your VS Code, just click over here, terminal, new terminal, trust. You will see this. Let me just close this now for now. In the terminal, you will run and type Shopify theme pull dash store and paste the store URL that you have just copied. So open browser and ask authenticate the connection. Go ahead and confirm and approve. Now what it does is it's asking which one we want to pull. We should pull the live theme. It will make a copy of the live theme inside your computer. Just press enter. Now you can see these folders on the left hand side of your VS Code. Assets, blocks, sections, layout, local, templates. Don't worry if those names don't mean anything yet. The important thing to understand is that this is your Shopify theme. Everything your customer sees on the storefront ultimately comes from these files inside these folders. So the home page, the product page, the collections page, the header, the footer, everything lives somewhere inside these folders. And from this point forward, instead of editing the store directly inside the Shopify, we are going to work with these files locally inside our computer. And also this is where Claude will be working with us. So instead of making changes directly to our live store, Claude will be editing these files first. And this is what gives us complete control over changes before it reaches to the visitors. Now, before we tell Claude to make changes to our theme, we are going to create our first checkpoint. And honestly, this is probably the most important step in this entire workflow. Think of it as saving a backup copy of an important project before making any changes. Right now, we have a clear copy of our Shopify theme sitting inside your computer. Nothing has been modified, nothing has been broken, nothing has been changed. This is a perfect moment to save a version that we can always come back to later. To do this, just open the terminal, just type git init. It tells the Git that we want to start tracking this folder, this project. This is test folder. Now after that, run git add. All right. It tells the Git to include all files which are inside this folder. Now finally run git commit -m initial version of theme and close. All right. What we have just created is our first checkpoint. If you imagine a timeline of this project, this becomes the starting point. From now on, every meaningful change we make can be saved as another checkpoint. And if something breaks in future, we can always come back to the one of these earlier versions. Now let's add a second layer of protection. At this moment, this checkpoint only exists on inside our computer. If your computer dies tomorrow, we will lose everything. So to back it up, we will use GitHub. Just head to the GitHub. Just create a new repository by clicking over here. Just name it. I will just name it test. All right. Now set the repository to private, and finally just create this repository. Now just copy this. Okay. Go to your VS Code and just paste it over here and press enter. Now just refresh this. We can see all of the files that were inside this folder are also backed up on GitHub as well. One more thing, you don't need to remember all these commands. In future, we are going to do all these commands using Claude Code. So at this point, our theme exists in 3 places. One is on the our local machine, another on the GitHub, and one more is on our Shopify store. Here. This is exactly the kind of safety net professional developers rely on every day. Now, before we start building anything, let's bring Claude inside the VS Code as well. We'll install an extension of Claude. Now, to bring Claude directly inside your VS Code, technically you can use terminal and then type Claude in order to access Claude. But what I have noticed is, personally, this terminal can feel intimidating for non-technical users. So to make this workflow more approachable and more convenient, we are going to install Claude extension for VS Code. So how you can do that? I think I have already installed it, but I will show you how to install this. Just go over here and type, it's already here, but I will show you just the full Claude code for VS Code. Just you will see install button over here. Just press install and it will get installed. After that, it will ask you to authenticate. Once that is done, you will see Claude over here. That's all what we needed to do. Claude is ready to work on your project. And one most important distinction is Claude is not connected to your Shopify store directly. Claude is connected to the files inside this folder. That means every change Claude makes happens locally onto this folder first. Once you review those changes, test them, then you track them with Git. Only then you push those changes directly to your Shopify store. That's what makes this workflow so much safer than editing your live store directly. So before we build our first feature, we will make sure that Claude can actually understand this project. So the first thing that I will recommend doing is just run /init. All right. This command creates a Claude.md file. It helps Claude understand the project structure, coding patterns, and most important, project context. The biggest advantage is that in future conversations, Claude won't need to repeatedly scan and analyze your code base before it gets started. Instead, it references the information stored in this Claude.md file, making it faster and more efficient when working on your theme. It will take some time until it creates that Claude.md file. Once it is done, I will just let you know. Now you can see this is our Claude.md file. So from onwards, Claude will not need to scan your whole code base in order to make a feature. Now next, and the one final step before we create a feature, we're going to connect GitHub with our Shopify store. Now one final step before we start developing a feature. Currently, Shopify doesn't know about anything about our GitHub repository while we are pushing all the code. They are completely separate systems, so we need to connect them together. This gives us a clearer workflow, better collaboration, and another level of protection. Let me just show you how to do that. Just simply go to your Shopify dashboard. Here you will see import. Click over here, connect to GitHub. All right. For the first time, it will ask you to authenticate your account. You might also need to review GitHub app permissions. Just click over here. So select the repository that we have created recently to push our code. Just add and save. All right. Once this is done, just head back to your dashboard. My screen recorder suddenly stopped working. So after that, you will see the repository. Just click test. The branch is main. Don't worry about branches. I haven't told you anything about them yet, but I will tell you later how to create a branch. For now, just connect main. Just give it a second. Now you will notice this draft theme over here, where you will see also this GitHub logo. This draft theme is connected to this GitHub account. All right, is also connected to this theme file. Workflow will be like, we will make changes over here, push it to GitHub. Then GitHub is also connected to this file. So everything will be synced. So now we are ready to start building a feature using Claude. Let's create our first feature using Claude. But before we start building anything, we are going to do something the most professional Shopify developers do before they begin working on a new feature. That we are going to create a branch. Now, if you never heard of a branch before, don't worry about it. The easiest way to think about it is creating a copy of your project, this project, where you can safely experiment. It also allows us to build and test features without affecting the main version of this project. That means we are going to create a copy of this where we can experiment. And if everything works, we can bring those changes back to this file also later. If something goes wrong, we can simply delete that branch and start again. So there are two ways to create a branch. The traditional developer way is just simply go to the terminal and write this command git checkout -b and name your branch, what you want to name it. Let's say that I will name it. All right. So this creates a new branch immediately and switches us to it. But since we are already using Claude, we can also simply ask Claude to do this for you. Just simply ask Claude, create a new Git branch called announcement -bar feature. Claude understands Git and can help perform many tasks for us. This is something I want to emphasize throughout this tutorial. You don't need to memorize every Git command. The goal is to understand the workflow, and over time you will naturally learn many of these commands. But while you are learning, Claude can handle a lot of these repetitive work for you. In fact, you don't need to learn most of these commands at all. You can simply ask Claude to do them. For the sake of this video, I just used the actual command so you understand what's happening behind the scenes. Now to verify whether we are in the correct branch or not, just simply go to the terminal, open terminal and write git branch. And you will see all the list of branches. And one with the asterisk next to it is the branch we are currently working on. And in my case, it's announcement bar feature. Now we have our own workspace. So that means now I can experiment with these files. And if feature comes out to be good, we will simply bring those changes back to this main branch. That's main branch. And if not, we can simply delete this branch without affecting our main branch. Main branch is our main files. So we have just simply created a copy of this. The next thing is we need a way to preview our changes before customer sees them. And this is where the workflow gets really exciting. So we are going to launch a development server and create a private preview version of our Shopify store to test this feature before we push it to the GitHub. So guys, now we are going to start our development server. Just simply ask Claude, start the Shopify development server for this store, and URL is this. You can find the URL by simply going over here, clicking on preview and just copy this. That's it. Just hit return. Guys, it might ask you to authenticate. It will simply open a browser window and just simply authenticate. It will also ask you for your store password. So how you can find the password is just simply go over here, go to the dashboard, and at the top you will see the password. If your store is live, then it won't ask you for the password. But if it is a development story and you are still trying and experimenting, you can see it over here. Copy this and simply leave it to Claude. The first time it's asking me something like this. It's asking me to copy this and just paste it into the terminal. Let's go. Just do like I'm doing. Enter the password. It's the first time, otherwise it used to handle everything on its own. Second, oh, here we go. There are 3 links, and this is your preview link. So here's our development store. Now, what you are looking at is your Shopify store is running in development mode. It looks like real store because it is your real store. It's using the same products, same collections, same pages, everything that your main Shopify store has. Only difference is that changes we will make here will not be visible to the customers until we push those changes. And this is where developers catch mistakes before anything goes live. Now, here's a really cool part. Leave this development server running, because as we make changes with Claude, you will see those updates appear almost instantly. You don't need to upload any files, not publishing anything. I mean, not touching your live store. Just build over here and just preview over here. And this is one of the biggest advantages of working locally instead of changes directly to your Shopify store. Let's finally ask Claude to build our first feature. Let me just clear this up. First feature. For example, I'm going to create a sticky announcement bar. Before I write the prompt, I want to point out something important. One of the biggest advantages of Claude working directly to our Shopify theme is that it can see the entire project. It can see the existing files. It can see the existing structure of the theme. It can see how Shopify sections are built. So instead of giving a vague instruction, we want to be very specific. For example, I can ask it, this is the prompt. I highly recommend doing this whenever you are building a larger feature. It's much easier to preview the plan than to fix a bad implementation later. So once I hit return, Claude will inspect the project. It will identify which file needs modification, and it will explain exactly what it is planning to do before it touches anything. And once you are happy with the approach, just approve the changes and Claude will begin implementing the files inside your project. You can also do that by going over here or going to the plan mode. But I personally don't go into the plan mode. I simply write the prompt over here. This is my personal preference, but if you want to, you can always go to the plan mode. Just create a plan and then create your feature. But I personally don't like that. I always tend to give all the prompts inside this main window. So let's hit enter. So, and also you might notice that Claude is creating new files, modifying existing files, and updating settings or making style changes. And also the important thing to understand about this workflow is Claude is making changes locally. Nothing is pushed to the GitHub. Nothing is published to your Shopify store. Everything is happening safely inside our development environment. Let's wait and see to understand how Claude is going to implement this feature. Now here's the implementation plan that Claude has brought us. So simply it's also telling us trade-offs to be aware of. We'll just simply write it. Let's go. Claude is making our feature. I want to explain you some things about Git. The feature is ready. I will just make you understand. The green color means that Claude has created a new file. This file was not existing before. It's a new file created. If you see this orange color, that means the file was there, but Claude made some changes to it. This means that we haven't pushed these changes to the GitHub. So I thought let's make you understand this. Now let's switch to the preview window. You can see this feature was not existing here. Let me just show you this. You can see the Claude has created our feature. This is exactly why I love this workflow. We describe everything in plain English, watch Claude build it, and immediately preview the results without affecting our live store. Now, before we move on, I want you to show something else. Let's open the editor itself. Just go to the terminal. You will see the preview links. Just open the editor link. Just wait. Allow. Now you will notice that Claude didn't just hard coded the announcement text. It created a setting that allows us to change the content without touching the code. Let's see. Let's change it to $80. Let's hit save. You can see. That's the kind of thing that you should be asking Claude while creating a feature. Don't just ask to build a feature. Ask it to develop a feature that you can yourself change settings later inside your editor without touching the code or without asking the Claude to do that. Now it's time to create a checkpoint where we will save all these changes and push it to the GitHub. So let's get started. Let me just close this for now. That's another habit that separates a professional developer from a quick AI demo. A lot of people build a feature, they see it working and immediately move on to the next thing. The problem with that is if something breaks later, they have no idea which change caused it. This is why we create a checkpoint. So before saving anything, let's see what changed. Hit terminal, just type git status. You can see what changes, what things it modified, what it created. This will simply show you all the files Claude modified while building this announcement bar. You don't need to understand every file. The goal is to simply review what changed before saving it. You can simply also ask Claude, explain the files you modified and why. You can simply do that as well. So once you are happy with the changes, let's create a checkpoint. Just simply run git add space dot, then write git commit dash m. This is the name that you want to give to your checkpoint. Added announcement bar. Just note that you need to close this as well. Just hit enter. Here we go. But if you prefer, you can also ask Claude to do this for you. And you don't need to memorize any of these commands. I'm just showing you the proper way of doing it. So otherwise you can simply ask Claude to do everything for you. Just remember to create a git checkpoint always. So what we have done is we have saved a snapshot of the project at this moment of time. So if we build more features later, we will still be able to come back to this exact version whenever we want to. Now remember, we have built this feature inside the branch. Think of branch as a workshop. We have built the feature there. We have tested it there. We have confirmed everything is looking perfectly. But the main version of our project still doesn't have this feature yet. Now we need to bring our completed work back to our main project. To do that, what you need to do is simply write git checkout main. Just hit enter. Then we will merge our branch inside the main branch. So how to do that is simply write git merge announcement bar. Just hit enter and here we go. Our announcement bar has officially become part of our main version of the project. Now let's push all the changes to the GitHub. But remember, you can also ask the Claude to do exactly these things. You don't need to manually do this. I'm just showing you for the sake of this tutorial. Now let's push changes to the GitHub. Just simply write git push. That's it. Now everything is up to date. A few seconds later, GitHub will also update our latest changes. And this is exactly how professional developers work in teams. They don't build feature directly into the main branch. They create a branch, they build a feature, they test it and save it a checkpoint, and only then merge into the main project. So at this point, our project exists in our main branch. It is safely backed up on GitHub, and it's also on our Shopify store. So everything is now tracked, backed up, and safely integrated into our project. Now let's talk about something that eventually happens on every project. That's mistakes. It doesn't matter whether you are using Claude, AI tools, or writing code yourself. At some point, you will build something that needs to be changed, fixed, or removed. The difference between a stressful workflow and a professional workflow is how quickly you can recover. Let's imagine 3 days later, our announcement bar has been live for a while. Then someone reports an issue. Maybe it's causing a layout problem on the mobile. Maybe it's conflicting with other features. Or maybe we have simply decided we don't want it anymore. In typical AI workflow, this is where things get messy. You start searching through files. You tell Claude to please fix this. But Claude doesn't have any memory of your code. So it tries to figure out things and it can accidentally delete files which are totally unrelated to your announcement bar and can mess up with your whole theme. Because we have been creating checkpoints, we have a complete history of everything we have done. So let's take a look at it. Just simply go to the terminal and write git log dash dash one line. All right. This will show you every checkpoint we have created throughout the project. Each entry represents a specific moment in the history of the project. Now, if you are comfortable using Git, you can manually revert the changes. For example, you can write git revert comment and then write the comment ID. This ID. Git will create a new checkpoint that safely reserves the previous changes. But honestly, this is where Claude really becomes incredibly useful. Instead of remembering commands, you can simply ask Claude, show me the recent comments and remove the announcement bar update. After hitting enter, Claude will inspect Git history, identify correct comments, explain you what is about to happen. As it's asking me to revert or reset, let's revert. So whether you use Git directly or ask Claude for your help, the result will be exactly same. So you can safely move backward through the history of your project whenever you need to. So once you are done, just tell Claude, please push changes to the GitHub as well. Push changes to the GitHub. So you notice there's no guesswork, no hunting through files, no asking Claude to remember something from 3 days ago. We simply used project history. This is really the biggest lesson from this entire video. The ability to recover doesn't come from the Claude. It comes from the workflow around Claude. Claude helps us to build faster, Git tracks every change, and GitHub backs up everything. So when you combine all four together, you get a speed of AI without sacrificing reliability. This is exactly why professional developer teams work this way. Not because they expect everything to break, but because they know they always have a way back when they need to. Now I think we have finished the whole video. Now I will just simply revise some basic concepts and few takeaways from this video. Now guys, the final thing, and we will just finish this video. Just go to your Shopify editor. Just go to the edit theme and check each and everything. Is this announcement bar creating any issue? Is cart working? I mean, check each and everything and see if it's working the way it has to work. So once you are happy with that, what you need to do is never publish this the site which is connected to the GitHub. Always duplicate this. And once you duplicate it, always push that theme to the live store. Never push the theme which is connected to the GitHub. Because sometimes we test things on the GitHub, and sometimes we push changes accidentally. So it never hits our live store and affects our visitors. So it's a good practice to publish the duplicate of the GitHub connected theme. So this is it for the video. Now one last thing, you can ask Claude to create a branch, you can ask Claude to explain changes, you can ask Claude to comment changes, you can ask Claude to commit history. The goal is not to memorize this workflow or memorize these commands. The goal is to understand this workflow. So if you found this video helpful, let me know what you would like me to cover next. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.